show lined up for you. Tap that screen, you know how we do. It's Dr. Chieftess Sunflower on the mic. You might know me as Dr. Sean, that's alright. And this the Hooded podcast on that ass. Finna make they ass crash. When I drop this knowledge, it's gonna drop them. Alright, let me stop playing around on the mic. I'm in a real good mood and I can draw the vibe. Alright guys, let me stop playing around. Welcome to the building. What am I doing? It's Dr. Chieftess Sunflower. Welcome back to another episode of the Hood to Hooded podcast. And this morning, guys, I had to switch it up because I was doing some studying last night. Not even really. Let me just turn the music down before we get into the studying. I hope you guys are doing your homework. If this is your first time finding the tribe, make sure you subscribe. If it's your first time finding to the tribe, welcome. Make sure you subscribe. This tribe, this community is about positivity, inspiration, and of course, knowledge. I am here to help you and help us stay motivated and growing every single day. So that's why you want to hit that subscribe button and join the journey for your daily dose of good energy. We are here mornings, 8 a.m. I'm not a morning person, but baby, listen. I'm trying to be a morning person and have that as a skill. Because consistency wins. Alright? Now, I had a whole new direction, my Niji. Asio to my Niji. We always want to keep the ancestors lifted up this morning. And let them know we're still in the good fight. So if you can see from the title, this is a little bit different from what we've been doing in other videos. We've been on like a, we've been on like a increasing your income, building generational wealth, breaking generational curses. Now you guys know on the Hood to Hooded podcast, we give it all truth, no chaser, no bluff. So you gotta really be able to sit down and understand what I'm about to drop to you in the spirit. If not, keep your ass strolling. Dead ass. Because what I'm about to drop today is gonna shock some people. The way it shocked me when it hit me last night. Because I can feel the energy shifting in the world. You know what I mean? There's arguments on TikTok, the government buying TikTok. People, you know, the Native Americans coming out, calling the true Indians pretendians, and they love coming to your page, and you know, because the truth is out. So I'm like, well, damn, it's all this uproar about who we are, the true American Indians, when nobody is reading. I only found this information out a year ago, my Niji. And I was like, nah, that can't be true. I was shocked, like, nah, we ain't the American Indian. I thought I'm from damn Africa, right? Till I did my genealogy and realized all my grandparents was here. And they never taught me about them. I had to go and find out about them myself. Not even my tribe taught me about them. Now that's sad. I had to go discover my tribe through records right here on this land. That broke my heart, number one. Number two, I realized, dang, well, if that's true, then I started reading, seeing all the evidence. I'm like, damn, people just can't be reading. They just want to argue. They don't have no facts. They're not reading no books. They're not going to the Library of Congress, seeing what Congress was saying back in the day. They don't know nothing about the first president through the 45th president, how all those first presidents was kidnapping people, napping people, and making them work for free as SLAVE on their stolen land. But they was your president, the ones you go to school to learn about in history. So I say, well, damn, how is that possible that the needy is so sleep? Like, what is it? Like, why we can't get out of this fucking, like, mental trap? Like, we can't break this poverty curse. We can't go from hood to hood because we keep latching on to a system that is meant to hold us down in every level. So we gotta attack that today. Alright? So I'm gonna tell y'all how this all, well, We'll get into that later. Let's just get to the meat and potatoes, okay? So peace tribe, this is Dr. Sean, Dr. Chieftess Sunflower, back with another episode. And today we breaking down something schools will never, ever tell you. And I want y'all to think about it. If you Christian, I need you to put your thinking caps on. Because I know I used to be a Christian, right? When you're a Christian, you really don't have your ears open, your eyes, you just see one way. But I'm here to tell you it's meant to be that way. And I'm not trying to break your heart. I'm not trying to break your soul, but it might be already broken when you hear what I got to say. But the thing is, you got to be open-minded. And if not, my Niji, then you don't understand. But this really for the Nijis, the one who get it, but I'm also trying to plant a few seeds for the one who like, what the hell you talking about, Dr. Sean? Because that's where I was a year ago. And I'm a reader. I don't let people tell me stuff. I go read stuff, and I just keep reading the same thing over. Like, the evidence is here. No more denying it. No more shorting us. No more, oh, no. I don't need nobody to tell me who I am. I got documents, paperwork, genealogy. Yeah. I didn't know none of my great-great-grandparents until I started doing this research and knowing who I am. And not letting them fucking tell me who I am. Alright? So that's what we digging into today. Something schools will never tell you. I don't care what public school you go to. They are not going to tell you what I'm about to tell you today, but I need you to understand. That's why I'm going so hard in this opening. Make sure you come in the room, tap those hearts. Our goal today is 1,000 hearts. Tap those hearts if you love knowledge. Tap those hearts if you love truth. Tap those hearts, like, share, follow if you ready for the truth. We finna dive deep. We're gonna talk about school books, because that's important. Where you're getting your knowledge from is important. And so I feel like, damn, if people spitting out the wrong knowledge, where are we getting this fake ass pseudo knowledge from? Where is it starting? So I was just sitting in the car. I was like, well, damn, I don't argue with Native Americans, because I'm like, y'all don't read. Y'all been, get your education from the reservation. You don't read. You can't read, because if you read, it's no way you cannot know who the Niji is. In reality, there's no way you cannot know how colonization, black codes, Jim Crow, white supremacy, all of these different taxes, laws, the pauper fund, the papal bull, the pope, all these people, the Christians, King James from the Bible, churches, schools, prisons, all got something in common, guys. I'm here to break it down for you. And I realize you gotta have more leaders who willing to stand up in the paint, tell people the truth, and not just fall for the okie doke, because that's the generational curse of it all. And it really clicked for me last night when I was just sitting reading, doing some vital reading for my life, because I couldn't connect the dots. Like, damn, how do so many of us get tricked into this shit? Alright? So we're gonna go to the source. The books that teach us when we go into school, when you go pre-K up, taking them history tests, we're going to the source. Where do these books come from? Who write these books? Where do schools come from? And why our ancestors were banned from reading? Because you got to remember, there was a law banning you and I from reading. Who does stuff like that? Who tell you can't read, but I can read and write, but you can't? Who psychotically thinks of things like this? This isn't history. This is survival knowledge, so you can know who you are. We are setting the intention today. We're not just exposing lies. We are reclaiming the truth. So if you're ready for me to get in, then let's come in the room. All right. So the first thing I want to touch on is the origins of school in America. Schools started as churches. You heard me right. Schools in America started as churches under this colonial system. Harvard, 1636. Yale, Princeton, these names y'all hype up all the time, were minister training centers. Okay? Minister training centers. So the colonizers came, set up land, squatted, started training ministers. Why they want to train ministers when they're over here reading books and writing books like The Delectable Negro? Or How to Make a Negro Christian? Or Despotism in America. These are the things that I need you to go and look up. Especially despotism in America. That one will blow your mind. how they said they wanted to make the POWs think that they're from Africa. Like, what? So they could steal the land. I'm like, it's no way. Alright? So yeah, Yale, Harvard, Princeton started in the 1600s as minister training schools. A lot of you might be like, oh, well, that's good. They was trained up ministers. Keep listening. The early textbooks in those schools was, anybody know? Anybody know what the early textbooks in those minister training centers, Harvard, Yale, Princeton, Oxford, whatever one you want to think of where the colonizers started? Because we weren't allowed, remember, if you were Niji from this land, indigenous, Indian, you were banned from school and reading. What? So the early books in those days was the Bible. You guessed it right. It was the Bible. Thank you for tapping the hearts. It was the Bible and New England Primer. These were the two books that they used while they were sitting here stealing land, unaliving people, at war, becoming presidents of land that they did not even, they're not even inhabitants of. They're immigrants. Come over, banning land, making laws, unaliving, like, just causing chaos. Right? So education was never neutral. It was never neutral ground. It was indoctrination with scripture and obedience. Create a clip. The first classrooms in America were pulpits. Okay, guys? They weren't teaching freedoms. They were teaching you how to be obedient. And not even us. They were teaching each other how to be obedient and about Christianity and the Bible. We were just being taken up and kidnapped and then called a slave, saying, oh, I brought them with me, when you really got them from the land, and pretending like you brought them with you, took their land, then made them work on the land, and now you know what I mean? It happened now. They call it child T-A-T-R-A. They call it that. It's still happening. So that's the origins of school. It started with Harvard training ministers, and these people would go to war, steal the land, and go to church. The presidents, the same ones who were owning slaves, taking land, they were deacons and pastors. They would go to church after that and say, oh, in the name of our Lord. You got to do the reading, because this is what they wrote. I ain't make this up. They made this up. They said this, in the name of our Lord, if these people don't bow down, your children will suffer for generations to come. They said this to us. If we don't bow down and go to church, and our children are going to suffer for generations. How is this something positive for my community, that we have to be forced to read a book that wasn't here when it came, but you're forcing on us, and if we didn't follow, we're going to be cursed for generations. And if you don't allow us to hurt you, harm you, we're going to be... Doesn't make any sense, guys. So then they went from the origins of school with the Bible and the New England Primer to literacy ban. They started banning literacy. They said, you know, we got these new minister schools, but anybody from this land, any of the indigenous people, the Niji, the Coppertone, Mary Indian, they banned from learning. They put a literacy ban in place. The slave codes 1790, for example, South Carolina slave code 1790 outlawed teaching enslaved people to write. So these are people that they basically kidnapped, took them to work for them for free, and said, if you teach them to read or write, you are going to be locked up or unalived or pay fines. What? The punishments if you did teach enslaved people to read, or POWs to read, because I don't like to say the enslaved word because it wasn't what it really was. It's a lot of lies going on. Whipping, you could get whipped, fined, or in prison for teaching them to read. Anybody who you kidnap, you can't teach them nothing. Why? Because literacy equals liberation. For example, Nat Turner's rebellion a literate preacher who could read and write. He was reading scripture and used it to spark the uprising, to take control, because they forced him to read it, but he used it to try to take back control of their sovereignty. Create a clip. They fear us reading because the moment you read, guess what? That's the moment that you are a leader. I always tell you guys, to be a reader, to be a leader, you must be a reader. That's why so many people walk around now with pseudo knowledge, because they don't know the origins of school, but they go to school. They don't know nothing about literacy ban, that you was banned from reading this shit before they realize, oh, if we ban it, they're going to read it more. Now we reading all of this stuff. So many people, so many leaders bringing new knowledge to the table, where till it's like, okay, what you gonna say now? What Angel Reese said, what you gonna say now, boy? What you gonna say now? All right. I'm just giving you we just building the cake here because we going somewhere. I need you to wake your mind up before I keep going into generational wealth, breaking curses. We gotta understand history. So Thursday need to be a history day. It gotta be dedicated to history, true history from sources, not from the ones that trying to mislead you. We're gonna get into those in a second. So black codes and textbook control. After the emancipation in the 1800s, black codes restricted schools, enforced segregation. So if you don't know what the black codes is, go Google it now and read them. I'm not talking about a summary of it. Go read the actual document. It ain't that long either. It's just a bunch of stuff that, needy black people can't do. It's just it's stuff that's saying if you don't go to work, then we're going to find you. You're going to have a warrant, and we're going to make you go to work for free. And if you do go to work, and if they whoop you and you don't do what they say, then you better stay. That's all it is. It's saying you got to go to the Sunday school and read the Bible. If you don't read it's saying stuff like that. Like you can't read, you can't write, you can't drive, you can't. It's like controlling people's time. That's what the black codes did. It controlled your physical movement. Once they realized, okay, we got to find another way to win, to kill the Indian and save the man. We got to find another way. So they used schools, which started as churches, guys. Sunday school was the first place our ancestors was sitting in, like, what the hell? But it was by force. It ain't something that they was doing. This is by force, man. So after emancipation, so-called, black codes restricted schools. So you were banned from going to school. And you were forced to segregate, meaning you over here, I'm over here. Right? White philanthropy funded industrial schools for black kids, aka the Niji, the Amerindian. Cooking, farming, not leadership. So the schools are industrial schools. Even now, the schools you're going to, it might have a name, probably one of the colonizers. They are the ones who started funding this from the money they were stealing from you going to work. Now all of a sudden, paying taxes, they would build a school to make you go to work for them and become a cook, farmer, housekeeper, nothing more. They ban you from being a lawyer. They ban you from being a doctor. They ban these things. So just like you think they ban reading, writing, they ban careers, they ban owning land. Like, who does creepy shit like this? Pull up in a boat, lie about who people are who are already there, and then ban them from doing the stuff that they was doing for millions and thousands of years. Like, who does that? Who does that? And then come and say you're the president. I mean, I just can't wrap my mind around the foolishness. I really can't. I really can't. It's so confusing when I read these type of things. It's very, very misleading. It's very, very misleading, right? So, for us, after we said, bump this, you can't tell us we can't learn, like what? They said, oh no, well, you can learn how to cook, you can learn how to farm. That's why they don't teach financial literacy in school. That's why they don't teach generational wealth in school. That's why you don't learn about nothing about the money system, stocks, bonds, because I feel like kids are so intelligent, they can learn day trading in school and become millionaires in school. I'm not even kidding you. If somebody had told me that existed when I was in high school, there's no way I would have been working, behind the counter, cooking, fast food. I'd have been day trading. Like, what? Oh, but they save it for the old white men. That's what they do. And they'll tell you that this is a hack to, what? Flip money? Come on, man. But they wanted us to go and learn how to do all the things that have nothing to do with our real setup and generational wealth, but how to cook, farm, clean, not leadership. Then came the indigenous boarding schools, 1879. I know y'all heard of Carlisle Indian School. The motto was to kill the Indian and save the man. Children were beaten for speaking their languages. You've heard of the paddle in school. Even when I was a little kid, I remember my grandmother and them talking about they used to get whooped in school. You could whoop the kids in school. This is what they were talking about. These indigenous boarding schools. That was us. They had authority to do violence legally if we spoke our language, did anything related to us being Indian, call ourselves Indian. We was banned from calling ourselves Indian in like the 1920s when they switched our identity. Walter Plecker. So it all just pisses me off, and it's just crazy how this is even like, is this really history? Like, this is crazy. I wasn't expecting to uncover these type of mental atrocities and physical. I wasn't. My Niji. We're gonna keep going. I just have to take a moment because the shit I be reading just be like, really be throwing me, man. Alright. So that was the Carlisle Indian School. So they try to trick you with this word Indian, make you think I'm talking about Native Americans, but I'm not talking about them. I'm not talking about y'all. I ain't got time for that right now. That's a whole nother story. I'm talking about my Niji, the real Indian, the copper tone. Go look up Indian red crayon. What color is that? My color. Stop playing with us, boy. It's too much evidence out that y'all try to ban, hide. You discontinue the crayon, you discontinue that, thinking that, oh, well, it's knowledge. We can hide knowledge. You can't ever hide knowledge. Knowledge is like a tree. Once somebody plant that seed like I'm planting right now, I don't know who this is for. One person out there listening like, damn, Dr. Sean, I didn't know this shit. Let me go look it up. That's what you need to do. Don't take my word for it, because I don't take nobody's word for shit when it comes to my brain. That's why I put my thinking cap on and I don't really research, and I'm like, what the? I've been lied to, man. That really hurt my soul, but it didn't break my soul. And that was the goal, to break your spirit, to break your soul, to make you feel like you generationally cursed and that you can't get out and that you're helpless, and the only thing you can do is cook for somebody else. I ain't talking about my chefs out there who go to the next level and amp that thing up and start that business. I'm talking about the ones who just feel like, the only thing I can do is cook for somebody. The only thing I can do is clean. Instead of owning that cleaning business, stop playing with yourself, man. Don't let nobody, no history, no lies kill the Indian in you and save the man so you could just work. Don't ever allow that to be your story. Don't ever allow that to be your story. We worth so much more than that. So much more than that. So these Indian boarding schools, they had the same logic as banning black literacy. These schools, you find even now, unfair treatment. They erase your memory. They erase your culture. They do. So every boarding school was like a battlefield. And the weapon wasn't guns. It was textbooks. It's going to go deep with these textbooks. Because that was my question in the beginning. Like, well, damn. Where we learning this fake ass knowledge from? Oh, the textbook in school. Oh. Well, who created the textbooks? I said. I went into who created these damn textbooks that we reading. I said, all these immigrants. So the rise of corporate textbooks, meaning corporate textbooks that's making money off of us to brainwash us. In the 1900s, I know you heard of these companies: Pearson, McGraw-Hill, Houghton Mifflin, Scholastic took over. Look at your kids' books right now. I'm sure you got some Pearson in your house. I'm sure you got some McGraw-Hill, some Houghton Mifflin, some Scholastic. You know those book fairs. I'm sure you got some of them in your house where they brainwashing the kids from the textbook, man. You hear me? The textbook is a weapon. I was baffled when I read this shit last night. Like, what? Because I be asking questions like, okay, well, if people not believing, what is the bottleneck? What is the pain point where they not catching this shit? And I be damn, it's the textbooks. Part of the problem. School started as Sunday school by force. And the first book was you to learn how to read the Bible, and they had an English only Bible. That's the only book that you could read. And you had to be obedient. What? Then it said Texas, California, Florida, my home state, dominated curriculum adoption. Because you know Florida, that's the home of the Seminoles, aka the Appalachian, the Yamasee, connecting all the way up to the Muskogee, the Choctaw. All of these indigenous people, American Indian, getting dominated by curriculum, going to school. The power is concentrated with a few publishers, if you notice. For example, in 2022, Florida controversially, they put slavery as involuntary relocation. That's what they wanted to change slavery from in the book now to involuntary relocation. What? See how they playing around and, So don't wait for school to free your mind, guys. It's not going to free your mind. Start your curriculum at home. To the people who are doing homeschool, don't be teaching them from these Pearson, McGraw-Hill, Houghton Miller, Scholastic. Genealogy is your weapon against this. If you don't know who you are, I mean literally connecting the dots to who your grandparents is, who your great-grandparents is. If you don't know that and you know the presidents, you already going towards a generational curse. If you only thing you can think you can do is clean and cook, unless you love to do it, then you highly mistaken. Oral history is so important. That's why I get on here. Thursday gonna be our history day. I have to just carve out a little space in the 7 days for my Niji, so that we can continue to truly elevate, concentrated on growing our mindset. Because half of the struggle is unlocking the mindset. Y'all see the movie Get Out, right? The movie Get Out. It applies to so much now. So Get Out showed him when he was just sitting in the chair, he was being brainwashed, and he had to cover his ears, his mouth, and his eyes. They thought he was watching it, but he wasn't really watching it, because everybody else who watched it ended up brainwashed, brain dead, right? But he didn't do it, and he was only there for a couple days, it seemed. We go through school for 12 years, so you can imagine the damage that people was feeling then versus 12 years of this. 12 years of, inequality, holding students back systemically. Just, it's so much disparity in the school system, and you don't even know it, and it starts with the textbooks, right? Create a clip. Today's textbooks are just the grandchildren of black codes. That's all they are. They're the grandchildren of black codes. They thought they could soften the black codes, put it in the textbook to get you into the industrial workforce. That's what they said the schools was. That was their purpose. McGraw-Hill, Pearson, Scholastic, when they started these companies, they said, okay, our purpose is to create industrial workforce. So if you're part of the industrial workforce, then thank these book producers. Teach your kids about Niji sovereignty. Teach them the truth. Don't let them go to be brainwashed. Now, I want you guys to share Some books that might have helped you learn more. Here's a couple books you can go and find for yourself and just read. Don't be afraid to read knowledge. Just be afraid of not reading, because before, remember, it was banned. So if you feel like you don't like reading, that's part of the generational curse. Got you scared to read, or having something in you where you don't even want to anymore. Before it was a ban, but now you don't. You put the ban on yourself. They got to the point where you done ban yourself from reading. You done ban yourself from elevation. You done ban yourself from talking to your tribe and getting with your tribe and showing that love. You done ban yourself. Like they said, kill the Indian in you and you save the man, because you ain't ban yourself from going to work. You ain't ban yourself from, breaking these generational curses or being generational. You ain't ban yourself from that. You ain't ban yourself from being helpless and feeling down and like you can't move forward in life. You ain't ban yourself from that, but you ban yourself from knowing who you are and the truth and reading. So go read Lies My Teacher Told Me. Write this down. Lies My Teacher Told Me. Go read it. Tap that screen. We got to get to 1,000 hearts, guys. And we only at 147. Tap that screen. Another one is The Delectable Negro. Go cop that. And the last one is How to Make a Negro Christian. And the last one, I know most people not going to go get, but go to Library of Congress and search Despotism in America. Now, that's the book that you might need to read after these, because that one right there, it going to really wake you up. And this is in the Library of Congress now. Despotism in America. How slavery was an experiment. How it was an experiment. Alright. So I was gonna wrap it up in a second, but it's a couple key points that I gotta let y'all know on how and why I felt like this is an urgency for me to present to the community, to the tribe. This is why. Let me go back and tell y'all why. I'm just gonna read it to you straight. So I wanted to know who published the school books in America? That was my primary question. And where they came from and what was their origin. Then I said, what were their goals and how did this tie to the black codes, right? And it was saying, like I told you guys, the publishers of school books from K through 12 in the U.S. is dominated by a handful of corporations. Like I said, look at your kids' school books. And if they ain't have any of these books, then your child's a part of the assimilation, just like we all were a part of this experiment. Pearson, they are UK based, but their headquarters in New Jersey. They're the largest education publisher. McGraw-Hill, founded in New York, but now it's US based. They are majoring in math, science, social studies, and business. Houghton Mifflin, they are the literature and history, founded in Boston. Scholastic, influential in children's books, literacy programs, and classroom book fairs. Saanich and Wiley, that's Boston and New Jersey, major for higher education and also feeds high school AP courses. Alright? So publishers are not neutral. They're multinational corporations. They have boards, they have investors, and they're shaped by state adoption policies. Just like Florida, California, Texas dominate because they have the highest student population. That is freaking crazy. Now, where did these companies come from? I told you earlier they arrived in the 19th and 20th century, meaning the late 1800s and the 1900s. That wasn't that long ago. I need you to understand that wasn't really that long ago in our timeline. It wasn't that long ago. They talking about they've been trying to do something for 400 years, all this crap. That wasn't that long ago when y'all just started these books in schools and shit. Okay, they grew alongside the industrialization of public education. Horace Mann had the common school movement. Horace Mann, he was like, we gotta brainwash them more. Let's start the school. We're gonna do school so we can have an industry, put them into the workforce. So it says their goal was not just educating, but standardization. That's why you take standardized tests. School books were tools to assimilate the Indian. Also, immigrants enforce Christian morality and later reinforce a unified American identity written from one white Anglo-European perspective. That was their goal and where it came from. Think about that now. How does this tie into the black codes again? This is where it's going to get deep, because after the Civil War, 1865, 1866, the black codes were designed to keep freed indigenous Niji, aka the black people. That's why they call it the black codes. It's just the color of your skin, and it's not who you are. Uneducated, landless, and controlled, because they couldn't beat our ass. So they had to control us mentally, right? So literacy was seen as dangerous. It was dangerous for us to be educated and empowered, because then we could read, we could write, we could make contracts, we could vote, we could free ourselves from this mind control. That's why they didn't want us to read. So the fact that you don't read right now, you ain't doing nothing but helping the generational curse stay alive. You ain't doing nothing but putting a ban on yourself that was actually put on you through some codes. That's why it's called the codes, because you don't even think that it's happening, but it's a code. You know how to say you code switch? But they got the black codes on your ass. Alright? Still going on to this day. The black codes, remember, was to keep you uneducated, landless, and controlled. Now, if the textbooks are the grandbabies of the black codes, what that tell you? Alright? So schools for us, for the melanated Niji, were underfunded or outright banned. They banned in some places. They was like, hell no. They're going to be dangerous if they get educated and empowered. They're going to be dangerous. What? Come on, man. When knowledge became dangerous, but you can learn knowledge, but I can't learn knowledge. You see what I'm saying? This shit just go crazy, like. And then the curriculum that did not exist was centered on obedience, vocational labor, and Christianity. And it was designed to produce a compliant workforce. Nowadays, guess what? The workforce is super compliant. Everybody going to work, getting paid little or nothing. The minimum wage ain't changing. 99% of the people are on one side. The other 1% is on the other side controlling the 99%. Because guess what? They knew that the curriculum that they put you through for 12 years was going to make you obedient, vocational, laborer, and Christian. Now, don't leave that part out. Y'all like to leave that damn part out. I'm tired of y'all leaving that part out. Because that's been all I see the whole time is Christianity. We get them with Christianity. And I look around and I see my people and I'm like, damn, they got us, bro. It's sad. I know y'all don't want to hear it, but it's just, somebody got to tell you. Somebody got to tell you. If you don't believe me, go be a reader and tell yourself. Don't sleep on yourself right now. Don't ban yourself out of life. Don't ban yourself out of feeling empowered. Don't ban yourself out of, the greatness that is in your DNA because you've been code switched to think that you something else. Okay? They produce that compliant workforce because if you don't go to work, guess what? They bring your ass up, trying to fire you, all of this type of stuff. You got bills and stuff. It's time to get out of that. So today we talk about the history, which has been a mystery. Tomorrow and the rest of the days we talk about the wealth building. And so when I'm telling you guys, hey, do this, do that, don't take it for a game because you've been trained to not take it serious at all. Alright? So by the 19th and early 20th century, school books reflected lost cause ideology. Slavery is presented as benign, like, you see how they got, everybody want to forget what they was trying to do. Enslaved Niji, us, we were described as happy, childlike, better off under their control. Indigenous people presented as obstacles to progress. And all the contributions, now this is what really pissed me off. All the contributions my ancestors made are intentionally omitted from these from these textbooks, McGraw-Hill, Scholastic. So you're not learning about yourself on purpose. They omit everything we invented on purpose. They admit the Benjamin Bannekers, the people who was the astrologers, making the almanacs and stuff on purpose. They admit the people who was, aligning things for NASA on purpose. They admit all the inventions that our ancestors did on purpose. Why? Because they don't want you to be empowered. Because guess what? When you're empowered, you're dangerous. When you're Christian, you're safe. Do y'all see what I'm trying to say? Is if they're Christian, they're going to be safe because we know we gave them that. But if they learn about who their ancestors are, they're dangerous. They're dangerous. That's crazy, right? So they admitted everything we contributed to agriculture, government, science. They just omitted it. Just like they omitted who you truly are, because it was like, nope, you can't let them know that. This wasn't accidental. This was psychological warfare. The black codes control our physical freedom, and the curriculum controls our mental freedom. Because what you teach a child determines how they see themselves and what they believe they're capable of. And that they only see George Washington being this great person, Christopher Columbus discovering America when he ain't even discovering no damn America, then that's what they're going to believe, that these white people are better than me. Before last year, I felt in my spirit like, damn, why I feel like they supposed to be better than me, but I feel like I'm the shit too. You know what I mean? I remember my first dental school interview. It was at University of Florida, right? And I walked into this interview. It was the only interview I got before getting into Meharry the following year. And I walked into this interview and I didn't see any interviewees who looked like me. That already broke my spirit because I'm like, damn, I'm the black girl. I think they just got me here because of, it broke my spirit before I even got a chance to get in the interview. When I walked into the interview, it was an old white man and a younger but older white lady. And I just bust out crying because I'm like, I counted myself out. I banned myself from getting in before I even spoke to them, because I had been conditioned, like on that movie Get Out, to just fall and feel less than from school, from the lies. I had to go back and spend a whole year. And that lady called me, and I'm happy she did. She called me, and she was a real one for that. Because she was like, man, we really want you. Go do this, try this, don't give up, don't take the test. She kind of pivoted me to the right direction, but it was just like, damn, I counted myself out. And those are the moments where you can count yourself out of who you are. You can count yourself out of your dreams because you believe in what somebody told you you are versus knowing who you are. All right? So what they did was, with these textbook publishers, their biggest goal was to standardize the national story. Textbooks made sure people grew up believing in the myth of America, a land founded by Christopher Columbus and noble settlers who were here with peace. Slavery was on the side note. Them kidnapping people and POWs wasn't even mentioned. And then the indigenous, the Niji, completely erased from the textbook. So when you wondering, damn, what happened? Like, where the disconnect? This is the disconnect, guys. I know we be searching for why people don't know. This is it. Right now, somebody taking a history test right now. Education was tied to the economy. The Niji, black children, were often directed into these industrial jobs. Okay? Booker T. Washington's model pushed by white philanthropists. Meaning, they wanted you, like I said, to do farming, cooking, cleaning, not law, medicine, engineering. You damn sure can be no dentist. What? It's like the dentist I see on TikTok talking about how she hold pain medication from melanated people who don't believe in Trump and shit. People do this. I hear patients every day, I'm not kidding you, talking about how mean these dentists are behind the scenes because they think nobody's going to find out or know. And they treat them like nothing and forcing them to take more pain. It's crazy. So you think this don't impact you, but it does. Because these people who come over here, they're being assimilated to this, to think that this is how it really is. And everybody is falling for the okie doke. Alright? So yeah, they erased us out of the book. So instead of making us landowners, farmers, scientists, builders, they put us as slaves or didn't even mention us at all. Just deduced us to nothing so we can forget who we are. And they still argue now because there's a critical race theory panic. And they want to keep that old curriculum intact. But that curriculum is falling down. The major publishers being to the major purchasers, which is Texas, Florida, California. And I'm a part of that Florida school system. And yeah, I've seen those books. It's just the continuation of black codes to Jim Crow to textbook censorship. It's to control the people, to control your education, to control your mind. Alright, guys? It's just to control your mind. And it's really, really sad. It's super, super sad. Super sad, guys. So, you might ask, well, Dr. Sean, how do we reclaim our sovereignty, reclaim our mind? Alright? It begins by reclaiming our curriculum, our voice, our stories. You can't ever let someone tell your kids your story. But if you don't know your story, that's why you allow someone else to tell them your story, because you ain't do the genealogy. Genealogy is not that hard. It's about who you are, where you come from. Okay? So this was a deep historical Thursday. I like making Thursdays the history days because, you know, that's my late day at work, so I can start a little bit late. But if you got questions, drop it in the chat. And remember, guys, the first classrooms in America were the pulpits. I'm sorry. Not sorry. Actually, I'm not sorry. Feathers up, my ninja, because it's an urgency. Because, yeah, y'all playing in our face at this point. Playing in our face, man. Like, what the... Y'all playing in our face like that. How? How y'all playing in our face like that? How the fuck they playing in our face like that? It's a rap. The Niji back. How the fuck they playing in our face like that? Yeah. It's a rap. The Niji back. Yeah. How the fuck they playing in our face like that? It's a rap. The Niji back. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. Okay. The Niji back. The Niji back. We want our sovereignty back. We gonna take it back. One way or another. We coming, mother. Alright, so if you felt this episode pump those hearts, we didn't meet our goal of 1,000 hearts today, but that's okay. It ain't all about the heart sometimes. Sometimes it's about the knowledge. Alright, I hope y'all can hear me on TikTok. I ain't see nobody really say you couldn't, but so I'm gonna leave us with some affirmations just to help us get through the day with this newfound knowledge. I know it was a bit heavy, but don't worry, don't fret, cause the Niji back, yeah. The Niji back, yeah. Don't fret. The Niji back, yeah. The Niji back, yo. The Niji back. Alright. So this is our affirmation for today. Create a clip. They tried to bury us from books, but we are living chapters. Try, remember, when you read, you rise. Say it again. They tried to bury us from books, but we are living chapters. Try, remember, when you read, you rise. So follow us on Twitch on Dr. Sean TV. That is my main streaming platform. If all else fails, I will be there because I can Twitch from my phone. So if you don't see me, you have to follow me on Twitch, Dr. Sean TV. I do go live on other platforms, so you can follow me there. And I try to do multi-stream, but sometimes I can't. If you want to join the tribe, we're about positivity, inspiration, and sharing true knowledge. We don't sugarcoat over here. So if your ears not used to hearing the truth, then you got to keep on strolling, baby. And this is really targeted for the needy who want to break generational curses, become hood to hooded, and really elevate your life and not be afraid of who you can become and not ban yourself out of your dreams and your greatness. We got to stop banning our own self. Before, they was banning us. Now we ban our own self. We won't pick up a book. We won't learn about who we are. We won't even do our genealogy. Alright? So support us on YouTube. Support the mission through the link tree, which is available on all apps. Support us on all apps. Okay? This is the Hood to Hood podcast where we flip the script, literally. Got a little nauseous. Come on, y'all, tap those screens. Tap those hearts. We're trying to get to 1K. 1K. Even if I don't get to 1K, I appreciate you guys for stopping through. We're going on YouTube. I'm only 8 away from 1,000. Man, it took me so long to get there, but you know, to whom much is given, much is required. And sometimes you gotta just take the stairs. Sometimes the elevator don't work for everybody. Some people can get on the elevator and go up, but when you come from poverty to hood, you have a lot of skills to learn, like consistency, determination, you know. So you gotta just be patient with yourself and know what you have been assimilated to do and be, and don't fall for that. Don't fall for the okie doke. That's my Walmart order. One stop away. Well, this is ending at the perfect time. So yeah, just remember who you are, guys. So we got the Q&A open. You can ask questions. Let me know how you feel about this. If you watch this on the replay, let me know how you feel about this and what you plan to do about it. Do you feel like, okay, well, Dr. Sean, I don't care about what they write. I don't care about their purpose. I'm not going to stop sending my kids to school. I know that's a drastic thing, but just understanding what's going on so that you can, you know, just know. Knowledge is the power, guys. Okay? At the end of the day, it's knowledge. I will see you guys tomorrow for another episode of the Hood to Hood podcast. This is Dr. Chieftess Sunflower. We're growing over here. Make sure you hit that link tree. Join us on Discord. I'm here every day, 8 a.m. And like I told y'all, I'm not a morning person, but baby, this is a skill that I must obtain. Because the early bird get the worm. So I hope you have a beautiful day today. I'm sending you positive vibes all the way down the board. We going from hood to hooded. Don't let nobody play in your face. Don't let nobody trick you out your spot. You feel me? You feel me? You feel me? Yeah, yeah, yeah. It's time for me to get back in the studio. Yeah, yeah, yeah. I wrote 2 different albums, but I got so much going on that I don't know when they gonna ever meet the world. I got so much going on, but it's a good thing to have goals growing. It's a good thing to have things moving, getting that multiple streams of income. Because guess what, guys? Before I get off of here, millionaires have at least, I think it's 7 to 9 streams of income. So if you want to be a millionaire, you tired of thinking that you're getting somewhere, but you really been assimilated to be in the workforce forever, you got to start getting those different streams of income today. If you got 1, that ain't enough. You're setting yourself up for failure. If you got 2, that ain't enough. At minimum, I need you to have 3. And I'm not talking about something that's going to take all your time, make you go work hard. I'm not talking about that. We got to work smarter, not harder, man. Smarter. Even with dentistry, I can't just come in here and think I know what I'm doing. I've been doing this dentalpreneur thing for 3 years. I'm still learning, pivoting, growing. Still like, what the fuck? I don't know what the, I'm still having those days where it's like, I gotta go back to the drawing board because this ain't it. But knowing who I am, that just gives me so much empowerment. And I will leave you guys with this, with mental health, right? So before finding out who I am last year and all of the systems that they put in place, I was always feeling way more depressed and down and sad. And then when I found out who I am, it's like the depression, it literally doesn't impact me. It's like I can't even get down no more because I know my ancestors rooting for me. They cheering me on. My mom is in heaven just smiling down, so proud that we were able to unlock the code, to break the fucking black code, to break generational curses. Because it ain't all about just the generational curse. The black code is a generational curse, but it's about just thinking about it, knowing what it is, and hitting it head on, and not being afraid of knowledge, not being afraid of growing, not being afraid of taking control of your mind instead of being hijacked. Okay? The days for that is over, my guy. It's over. You're going to either get with it or you're going to be with that pseudo knowledge from Pearson, McGraw-Hill, Scholastic, whoever in Florida don't want you to know. And whoever around this country don't want to admit your ancestors, don't want to admit anything about you in the book, and want you to just learn about them. That's crazy, man. It's psychotic. And the days for that is over. I'm here to help the Niji community, the other chiefs out there, the other chieftesses out there. Sound no alarm, baby. So get with it. Because I don't be going to find out like, what? I just asked who the first schools was and who started it, and then they go into Christianity and you're trying to do this, trying to do that. Man, that's gonna be pissing me off, man. Because I don't even be thinking that it's gonna say that. But I gotta go. Y'all have a good day. Like my cousin say, have a good day on purpose. We ain't reach our goal with these hearts, but we reach our goal with unlocking these chains. Alright? So I'm out. 8 a.m. tomorrow. Make sure you here. I don't know what we're going to be talking about tomorrow, but I'm going to make sure it's juicy. We get back onto the wealth train, and we're going to, grow every day as promised. I got something big in the works. I'll probably announce it next week, but yeah. All right, guys. Bye.